recording. Hey yo, welcome back. Or if you're watching this, today I'm going to be working on writing a program in C that creates files. And it's very simple. I'm going to be using system calls. There's a system call I'm going to be using, but I'll give you an example. So, if you want to write a file or you want to create a file, you can use this touch, right? All it does is it just creates a file. Actually, let me remove it and start it this way. This is an empty directory. Very empty. There's nothing in here. Ls. Correct? So all I'll do is I'll just touch, put main.c. Now with ls, you see I have a C file. Created the file and it created it in the same directory I wanted it to be, which is this directory. There's nothing in but that. Now, I want to create a program that will do the same thing with a predefined name in the same directory. So right now, the count is 1 for this, right? There's nothing in here, LAH. There's nothing but, a link to two directories, correct? I just want this. I just want to add one more thing. So I'll open this file and you can see empty file. So what do I need? I need a header file. Include stdio.h, not the disease. Gonna two more. Fine I. I'm gonna include L, maybe Unix standard library std and f. Is it fnc ctl .h or f like that? That one. I always mistake that one. I'm gonna start with the same main environment int argument count and actually get that word. We'll have char like that, and then we have argument value like that. Cool. As a good C programmer, I want to always exit out with a 0. That means success. Now, what I want to do is create a file. Create a file in this directory. That's all I want to do. Oh. Yep, that's all I want to do. Create a file in this directory. Right? That's all I want to do. There are two ways to do it. I want to use a system call, right? Which means I can use an open, or I can use this function, the create function. However they call it. If it's not a function, my bad, but this is what it is. So this function takes some arguments, the mode and the path name. So maybe I could do 2, but for the use of this video, I'm just gonna use 1. Returns int, and I'll get to what that integer is. So yeah, I'm gonna be using create. By the way, this is a function that Ken Thompson said that was his biggest mistake. I think it's a great name, crit. So as we know, it returns an integer, and I said I'll get back to that integer. I'm gonna call it fd, literally. Now I will say this integer should be just sample.txt, and the mode should be create, right? However, it also takes another argument, and the argument is basically telling it the permission bit. And what do I mean by that? I can show you what I mean. So let's do this, right? So if I print out this file, you can see that this file has 190 bytes, and the permission sets are read write, and read. So the root user can read and write this file. I can read and write this file. I just so happen to be also the root director, the root user, and the group can only read it. So anyone other than me or the root would only be able to read. So I want the same permissions. So now I would say, hey, give me this permission. Actually, yeah, so I may be wrong, yeah? I may be wrong about that. Cool. Yeah. I need this bit. Cool. What do I want to do? I want to say, okay, with that, what is FD? FD is basically a file descriptor. So all the files in your computer have kind of like an index of what things are going to be able to, or what things are open at the current time. And the index for this file that we are creating tells us a lot of things about the file. It may not tell us the name of the file, but it can tell us some statistics about the file, right? So this is kind of very easy to move around, but it's difficult for me to get. Let's say, what is the FD, or the file descriptor of this class? I have no idea, but I do know the one that I'm going to create, right? So, and as a C programmer, you have to make sure that, I don't know, maybe I'll go with this. I'll go with this instead. If FD is less than 0, I need to be able to let the user know that there's something going on. So I'll printf, and I will print to standard error, right? And it's gonna be like this something is wrong here. I'll pass it basically the line like that, right? And here and type specify argument, I don't know what that is, but sure. And I will exit here with something other than 0, so it's going to be a -1. That tells the programmer that something is going on. Line number is probably just I. Sorry, I'm going to tell you deny, right? It's going to tell you, hey, something went on at, something is wrong. Maybe we put an at line that, right? We can even do one better, right? We can do one better. Let's say we do this, right? Let's say we're going to say the argument value at 1, and we'll still have the same 6. That means read write, and read for the group, right? So now I'll still have basically I'm going to do a check here, and the check is if the argument count is less than 2, 0, yeah, then we want to do something. We want to do basically the same thing, right? Please provide a file name. Like that, right? Cool. Same thing, and we have to go out, exit, and we -1 this, and that's done. We do the same, duplicate code, Who cares? I don't care. But get the point. This is a file descriptor. If this is successful, I would like to write into the file, right? And to do that, I'll say fd is going to be equal to, I'll write into this file hello world, and basically I'll give it 10 bytes, and I think this 10 bytes is more than that. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 10 11, I think 11, maybe no yeah, I'll give it 10. Let's see what happens. Something like that. 0 like that, and here I'll write it to, oh yeah, I got it here. This accepts also the file descriptor. So if this program runs successfully, I'm supposed to see a new file, and it should have the same file. It should have the same permissions as this file, main.c, right? Cool. I'm gonna return. I don't know why I created this. Cool. So I'm going to gcc main, like that. So now we have this, and we can actually list all of them. So it's telling me that for this main executable, the root can read, write, and execute. I can read, write, and execute, but the group can only read and execute, so they cannot make changes to the file. So now I will run our program, and I would not give it an argument. And you can see it saying, hey, please provide me a file name, right? And it errored out at line number 12. So if we open it, we open this file, right, and we say you can yeah, so let's go to 12. You can see here at this line, this is where it errored out, right? It's telling you, hey, it came from line 12. Cool. All right, now let's run the same, and I'll give it sample.txt. Now everything worked, basically. It's quiet, that's good. Right? All right, so now I should see 3 files in this directory, right? In this directory. Now I can see that I have those files, and you can see it gives me the same permissions as the one above. How about we bet that everything actually worked? We can see that we have hello. However, our hello has an issue. We don't have the D appended to it, right? Okay, that's bad. Why? The reason why, let me remove it. The reason why, oh, what's going on here? Sample. Reason why we don't have that, I'm gonna remove the executable as well. The reason we don't have the whole thing is because I instructed it to give me 10, but I need 12, right? I need 12 plus, I think, the null terminator. So I'll run this program again. I'm going to compile it, and we'll have that sample, maybe sample to the txt. So you see that is a different, it's a different file. Now vetting, we have that, and we have null terminate end of file. You know what I mean? We have null terminator as well. With that said, that's the end. I hope you had a good time with this. All right.